to Bull City Pro. This is episode 3, part 2. Yeah, in part 1 we discussed CWF, what happened with Worldwide, the match of the week, which was Marcellus. Okay. Welcome to Bull City Pro. This is episode 3, part 2. And if you haven't seen part 1, please go back and take a listen to it. We talked about CWF Worldwide, their show, their YouTube release this week. The match of the week, which was Marcellus King, the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion, going against Ethan Case in a match that actually went, which ended in a time limit draw with an extra 5 minutes, which actually was really more of an extra 2 seconds, which if you go back to episode 1, you'll find out everything. But this is episode 2. We're going to talk about the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Bruce Thorpe? What we're going to talk about today with the NWA. Basically, we're going to talk about what happened on Saw, their release on YouTube, and also NWA Smoky Mountain, and we're going to discuss the heel turn of the longest reigning champion in modern day of professional wrestling. 4 years going, we're talking about Jason Kincaid. Alright, well, we're going to begin with NWA Inferno. Interesting show, not great, not a lot of highlights. They had the big Midville Monster Jersey, one half of the Southern Tag Champs, in a squash match. Also, I noticed that they have changed up the Southern Tag titles. Thank you, because the ones y'all had previous to this one were very ugly. I'm not even going to lie. Greg Anthony did a small promo talking about how good a gold he is. He wants the best. He wants to wrestle against the best. And as well as possibly a shot at the world title. Greg Anthony, if you haven't seen this guy, he's a great wrestler. He in many ways puts you in the mind of a smaller version of a Kevin Owens. When you look at him, you don't think he's that good of a wrestler, but trust me, he can go. Very strong. Crazy how he went from, he was in TCW, the clean face, to now he got the Daniel Bryan thing going with the gold streak. But I actually like him. I like his clique, the Empire, which I will talk about in later episodes down the line and more episodes. Trust me, if you haven't seen him, YouTube him, Google him, the Empire. Check out Greg Anthony. He had some very good matches. One of the matches that I liked, I can't think. It was one against TCW where he really impressed me. I saw him bench press a guy over his head. So, if also check him out on MidSouth, NWA MidSouth. He's also currently the Universal Champion of that promotion, defeating Rob Conway with the help of the Empire. And I think Rob Conway and Tim Storm has a North American heavyweight title match coming up. But anyway. But the highlight match to me was Sunchokes, everybody knows, or like the guy says on there, everybody knows Mr. Sunchokes, Mr. Everybody Knows. He had a TV match against Bradbury, who was on the previous show, who got his butt handed to him by the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Jack Stane. Very good match, back and forth. For a second, I thought Bradbury might pull off upset, but Schultz proved why he is probably the top heel in that area and why he's good at what he does. He sneaks out using the tights, and by any means necessary, he continues to be the NWA Southern Television Champion. Actually, they keep saying the NWA Television Champion, so apparently he's the NWA Television Champion. And of course, Rob Conway did a squash match. So, NWA Saw, I like the new format they're doing is okay. I don't necessarily like it. I like it the old way. I love Hot Rod Biggs. He's very good. He really puts the guys over. He really do. And his color commentary is hilarious. I mean, he is funny, and all bits of it. So now we're going to move on to NWA Smoky Mountain. And this show began with the return match for the television title. Ali Shabazz went against Jordan Cage again. This match ended with a controversial ending. So apparently they're going to keep this feud going, which I hope that they do. You got Ali Shabazz, the human action figure. He does a lot of athletic moves. When you have Jordan Cage, who is he's your typical junior heavyweight, but he's crisp with it. Very good worker. These two apparently really work well together. I see a lot of chemistry with them. That's why I think this rivalry is going well, very well. I mean, going over very well over in Tennessee. I think Jordan Cage did a lot more top rope moves as well as a lot of ground and pound. Of course, Sizemore got involved, and Jordan Cage, of course, pulled out a chain and dropped Ali Shabazz. But another referee saw it from the back, reversed the decision, and enabled Ali Shabazz to retain the television title. So I'm expecting a definite, fifth, sixth match? Fifth or sixth match coming from them, period. Plus, on top of that, what I really like with Sizemore getting into it with the referee. It's always nice and funny when you see a match get shoved by a referee and he ain't having it anymore. So, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen with that. I hope it ends with a ref going against him in a match. That's going to be funny. Then it was a U.S. tag title match at Skylar Cruz and Axton Ray, who recently won the titles in a three-way, defended them against the agencies Garvin Daring and Toby Farley. Very good match, back and forth. I see why Skylar Cruz is a two-time U.S. tag champ. Plus, I was very surprised with the Gavin Darling and Toby Farley, because, like I said, with them, they had wrestled before. And I see that they're keeping the rivalry between Gavin Daring and Skylar Cruz going, because it used to be the Air America, who was the U.S. Tag Champion, and which they won in a tournament. And I see they're keeping that going. It was a very good match back and forth, but the match of the night to me was actually that match. If that, to me, that was the match, the best match of the YouTube release. Of course, the tag champions retained, defeating the agency. Dylan Sizemore had a terrible, terrible show, getting 2 losses and no title belts coming back to his fold. And then, of course, it ended with the ongoing feud of Wild Bill versus Jeff Conley of Chaos. Just in case of some of you people that ain't been paying attention or keeping up with NWA Smoky Mountain, well, I suggest you go to their YouTube channel and actually watch some of their stuff. They are very good. I see why they are the flagship of the NWA. I see why Bruce Thorpe said that. I've been watching them for years. Wild Bill, before he even get the match started, he gets jumped. This big, huge match dude named Onslaught comes out. Now, before I get into that, Jeff Conley and Daniel Mulligan, who everyone's saying Wild Bill is, we all know that Wild Bill is Daniel Mulligan. I mean, it's a old school storyline that's been used before. Let's just say that. Dusty Rhodes, Midnight Rider. Alright. So, Ric Flair and Scorpion. See, I know a lot about professional wrestling, more than you guys even realize. Alright now. Basically, in a match previous to that moment, Daniel Mulligan became part of Chaos. It didn't work out. They fired him. So he comes back as Wild Bill. So Jeff Conley, who is determined to prove that he is Wild Bill, has been doing everything to attack the doing a master guy. So now coming to this, Onslaught comes out, saves him. It becomes a tag match. I liked it. I said, okay, you got two big guys against them. The match goes back and forth. Then eventually Onslaught turns on Wild Bill. They beat the stuffing out of him. And in their next huge event, I will have the link for NWA Smoky Mountain for anybody that wants to know about them, so you can go see when the next event is. The YouTube channel, subscribe to it. A first ever hair versus mask match. Now, if you ain't never seen a hair versus mask match, it is very interesting. Jeff Conley's hair versus Wild Bill's mask. Later on, I think that is in the next 2 weeks or a week or so, the next shows I will definitely discuss that. Probably also preview the next event a little bit. Which brings me to the topic for the NWA Smoky Mountain is Cabal. Jason Kincaid, who is a guy who I've been watching for years from the time of NWA Mountain States all the way up to him coming to Smoky Mountain, has been the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion / Southeastern Heavyweight Champion for 4 years. The longest reign of any champion in modern day. That means CM Punk is saying he's the greatest in the world. Jason Kincaid can hold claim to that also. For the last 4 years, he's been pretty much a face. And then recently with a match against Nick Hammonds, he turned heel and started a group called Cabal, involving two giants, Travis Lee, which is from Chaos, Chris Richards, who is from the Illuminati, Sarah Dox, who is a female wrestler from down there. Now, what I think about the heel chain, bravo. He's been champ for 4 years. Common sense dictates that for him to keep that title, for him to rehash many of the contenders who he has defeated, he needs to become a heel. Plus, I gotta say that Jason Kincaid heel work has been pretty darn good. I remember his heel work when he was with the Bradford family in traditional championship wrestling. Actually, one of the greatest matches that I ever seen of his was when he defeated Americos. And, you know, he was a heel. He was in part of the heel faction. He was the junior heavyweight champion there. Also, when he was with the Illuminati. You know, so, plus he does, I think, heel work in Canada, but his heel work is pretty good. So I think people seeing him as a heel would definitely turn heads. But my curiosity is what's going to happen to the Illuminati and what's going to happen to Chaos, because now that Travis Lee is a part of Cabal, will he still be a part of Chaos? Will he or will he be on Cabal as just a separate entity altogether? Plus, on top of that, I'm also glad that they turned Jason Kincaid heel, because Nick Hammonds is a face. That is what his build is right now. That's what he works best as. I never really saw any of his heel work, but I like his face work. So basically, for him to become the Southeast Heavyweight Champion, if that's what their plan is, it would make sense for him to be a face and Jason Kincaid to be a heel. Plus, on top of that, the fact that he had passed out, supposedly passed out in his house through the mercury poisoning because of the light bulbs being smashed across his head. Well, that's just going to add more sauce to the chicken, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. Plus, on top of that, the NWA has added new promotions. Florida, I think Florida, like I said, the promotion out of Florida, they just announced that right before I recorded this. Also, they added IHWE, which is in Texas. Also, was one of a promotion which they added. Oh, NWR, I think it's New Wrestling Revolution, which I checked out their channel, and I will be putting in the Sunday out-of-state promotion spotlight eventually. New Wrestling Revolution, which they have a YouTube channel. They have a show called Ignite. I will be talking to you people later about that. That would be hot. Also, the other thing I wanted to bring up was also the Heat Seekers. Congratulations on becoming the new NWA Tag Champions. The Heat Seekers has been the U.S. Tag Champions. They actually were very traveling champions. They actually defended the titles a lot of places. They're currently also the AML Tag Champions, as you know from episode 1. So I like that. I like that the fact the NWA Tag titles and the NWA World title is on the state side. One, because people can see the Tag Champions, get to know them. You can see them defend in Texas. You can see them defend in Tennessee. Now in Florida, in the Midwest. Shoot. Hey, send them over there to London. I mean, has the world title, the tag titles, the world title, have they been defended over in London yet? Even with Australia. Because the thing that I hate is when the titles are over there in Japan and we don't get to see the titles be defended. They don't get defended that much over Japan. So I'm glad that they're back on the United States, on the state side. I am looking forward to seeing Tiger Mask coming over here to defend the junior heavyweight title. I'm curious about who's the guy that's going to be made junior heavyweight champion. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Who knows, it might be Jace Owens. It might be Jason Kincaid. Might be Vince Britt. I think Vince Britt should get a shot at it. But that's pretty much it for the NWA stuff. Like I said, I got a part 3 that's coming where we talk about the big boys. We're going to talk about WWE. We're going to talk about what happened on NXT. Yeah, Joe did a heel turn and did it in a big way, man. Definitely setting the stage for him and Finn Balor for the NXT heavyweight title. So, alright, like I said, all the promotions that I discussed in this video or any video will be found in the description area. Please take a look at it, check it out. Follow me on Twitter, bullcitypro3, as well as check us out on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? So check you out on part 3.